The story starts with a drone view of the prison. Later on, a road rage incident occurs, and a person climbs onto the rooftop of a car. He then opens fire on the man inside and unleashes his dog on him. The dog bites the man to death inside the car. All of this is happening due to gang fights occurring inside the prison, which are impacting the outside world. In the afternoon, a man is seen blindfolding a young woman and taking her on a boat. The man is Mike, and the girl is Iris. Mike is the mayor of the city, and Iris is one of the girls he rescued from a gang leader. Mike takes her on a trip at sea and soon asks her to remove the blindfold. He surprises Iris with a yacht, and she becomes very excited when she sees it. Back in the prison, 3 to 4 men are seen attacking one person. Men from different groups try to attack each other to make their group dominant. The 3 men kill the guy despite his friend trying to stop them. Thus, all his efforts go in vain. This violence is due to the lack of leadership among the prisoners. The absence of leadership began when the police clashed with prisoners in the past, as a result eradicating the gang leaders within the prison. Mike and his brother were also part of this fight and returned safely. Following this eradication, the police are hyperactive against criminals, and thus attack their hideouts at a fast pace to dominate the gangs. When they attack one of the criminals' hideouts, they kill one of them without hesitation. Returning to the boat, Mike asks Iris to head back, but Iris insists on staying on the yacht. Mike lets her stay to enjoy herself and leaves for work. As soon as he steps on shore, he receives a call from Ian. Ian is a police officer and one of Mike's colleagues. Ian informs Mike about the car incident that occurred earlier. At the crime scene, Ian and Stevie are seen assessing it. Stevie, a high-ranking officer, is also a colleague of Ian and Mike. They notice the dog still feeding on the victim's corpse. So, Ian shoots the dog as there is no other option left. Later, Mike arrives, and Ian briefs him about the worsening situation in town. Ian further warns him that if this doesn't stop, everyone will suffer. Hearing this, Mike calls Bunny, one of the gang leaders who has good terms with him. Mike asks if Bunny knows about the incident, and Bunny explains that all of this is due to the bloodshed in the prison. Mike insists on meeting Bunny, and they meet on a rooftop later. There, Bunny tells him the lack of leadership in the prison is causing groups to fight for dominance, leading to killings outside. He also tells Mike that guards in the prison are taking revenge on prisoners, resulting in deaths. Bunny advises Mike to ask the guards to give prisoners time to establish true leadership. In the evening, Mike has a sit-down with Ian and his crew. Carney, an officer in the prison and Ian's crewmate, briefs him about the prison issues. They decide they need to control the prison killings to maintain peace outside. As Mike leaves, Stevie follows him and asks about Duke, but Mike isn't interested in talking about Duke. The next day, Kareem returns to the prison. Kareem is in charge of the prison and was attacked by prisoners in the past. Moreover, he was forcefully assaulted by the prisoners during the chaos. Upon his return, he brutally kills 3 of the men who attacked him. Moreover, he does it in front of the prisoners to make them understand they have to respect him. The next day, Mike is followed by a woman who owns a security agency. They provide guards and maintain security in the prison, but Mike is uninterested and keeps walking. Later, Mike arrives at the yacht and asks Iris to pack her bags. He tells her that they are leaving soon. However, Iris seems reluctant to leave the boat. After a while, they arrive at the shore and are surprised to see 2 officers waiting. The officers brief Mike on why they are there. They want to take Iris into custody to keep her safe, as they fear Milo is still alive. Milo was the gangster responsible for a mass killing in the prison in the past. Moreover, he is the one Mike rescued Iris from. Mike explains to Iris that this is for her own safety. She is reluctant to leave Mike but eventually agrees to go with the officers. That same afternoon, Mike's mother, Miriam, is seen leaving a department store. As she exits, a young boy attacks her, trying to snatch her purse. In the struggle, he hits her. This causes her mouth to bleed. He manages to steal the purse, but Miriam yells at him to take the cash and leave the purse. Fortunately, he listens, taking the cash and leaving the purse. Later, Mike's brother Kyle is on a ship with his subordinate. They are chasing a boat suspected of carrying illegal drugs. Kyle soon realizes that his subordinate is trying to blackmail the men on the other boat for money. This leads to an argument. Kyle then checks the boat and confirms that the subordinate's actions were just a scheme to extort money. Upset, he shares a cigarette with one of the men on the other boat. Back at the department store, Ian arrives at the scene. He tells Miriam that they have caught the boy who stole her money. However, Miriam is disturbed to see the bruises on the boy's face. When she asks about them, Ian explains that the boy got them resisting arrest. Seeing this, Miriam decides not to press charges. Ian insists, but she refuses. Back on the boat, Kyle feels frustrated watching all the corruption within his department. Later that night, Iris is taken to a safe location by the security officers, but she seems annoyed. She argues with them about why they brought her there. One officer gets offended and confronts her, but Iris warns the officer not to touch her. Furious, Iris leaves the place. That same night, she arrives at Mike's office while he's pouring a drink. He agrees to let her stay with him. 2 days later, the prisoners are excited and gathered in a crowd. Soon, a police van arrives at the prison, and several gang leaders are escorted out. Each has gang members already in the prison. Meanwhile, Kareem looks irritated by this sight. 2 days earlier, another killing occurred in the prison, which directly impacted the outside world. The gang members of the man killed inside attacked the family of the attackers. This resulted in a mass killing of nearly a dozen people. A girl calling 911 was even killed by a headshot. That same night, Mike was informed. He rushed to Iris first, leaving her at his brother's house for safety. Then, he went to the crime scene, where Ian was already present. Seeing the situation, Mike thought it would make national headlines. So, they had to wrap up the scene and eradicate the root cause of the massacre. Later, a police officer found one of the attackers' pistols. Following a blood-stained path, Mike and Ian found one of the attackers. The attacker was severely injured and close to death. Later, Mike tried to interrogate him, but it proved fruitless, so he left the scene. The next morning, Mike tried calling Bunny, but he didn't answer. Mike then visited Bunny at his shop, and they argued over who was at fault. Later, Mike proposed that Bunny convince the other gang leaders to agree to a truce. Bunny agreed and asked Mike to meet him after 3 hours. 3 hours later, Mike called Bunny and the other gang leaders to meet him. He briefed them, explaining that his plan might cause some pain, but he ensured it would help restore order in the prison. He assured them they would be released as soon as things settled inside the prison. When Bunny learned of the plan, he cursed Mike, accusing him of breaking their trust. At that moment, the police arrived and arrested all the gang leaders. That same afternoon, Kyle was patrolling with his subordinate when they pulled over another car. Kyle was hesitant, suspecting his colleague was trying to extort money. As his colleague approached the car, someone inside shot him. As an insult, he died on the spot. Kyle, in response, shot the man in the head. When he reached the car, he was shocked to find a toddler crying in the back seat. That night, Iris ran away from Kyle's house and went to a church. It is soon revealed that she came to surrender herself to Milo. Later at night, Mike pays a visit to Joseph. Actually, Joseph is Milo's right-hand man. Mike does this because he still believes Milo is alive. As the two of them get into a brawl, Mike beats Joseph badly. Moreover, he uses Joseph's gun to get out of the place. The next day, Iris is taken by the Russian mafia, and Milo hands her over to them. She undergoes tubal ligation because they plan to use her as a prostitute. Joseph doesn't like her and makes it clear that this is where she belongs. Later, Joseph's girlfriend, Tatiana, who manages the club, briefs Iris about her work. She also asks Iris to let her know if she faces any problems there. In the afternoon, Tatiana meets with Mike. She tells him that Iris is in Milo's custody. She adds that if he wants to play the hero again and rescue her, the club doors are open. Mike seems pleased with the idea and agrees to visit the club that night. Later that night, Mike visits the club as planned. He starts looking for Iris but is ambushed by Joseph's men. They take him to a room where Joseph tries to torture him. Joseph even manages to land a blow on Mike's face. But soon, Mike takes him down with his strong defense. Mike also warns him that he knows Milo is alive and will come for him. In this way, Mike escapes from the club successfully. Back at the prison, Bunny and other gang members are trying their best to eliminate the defaulters. In doing so, an antagonist gang leader comes face to face with Bunny. He tries his best to kill Bunny, but Bunny's gang members come to his aid. As a result, Bunny takes down the other gang member, but he himself suffers several injuries. After this incident, Bunny demands a meeting with Mike. Later that night, Mike arrives at the prison, but Bunny is still furious about the attack and tells Mike he is going through all of this because of him. Having just faced a death threat, he says he can't stay in prison any longer. Bunny gives Mike 48 hours to get him out of the prison. Otherwise, he will handle things his own way, which will result in a lot of bloodshed. Mike assures Bunny that he is doing his best to get him out soon so he can be free again. The next day, a construction worker named Horace intentionally buries a mysterious container. When his coworker asks, he just pretends it's nothing but waste. and thus gets it buried under the soil. Later, he secretly digs it out and takes it home. That night, Horace and his wife open the box. So, they discover lucrative bonds worth millions of dollars in it. Horace approaches a friend, thinking he might buy them, but as soon as his friend sees the bonds, he suggests Horace burn them because his friend thinks they'll be a threat to Horace's life. But Horace still insists on finding someone who might buy the bonds. So, the friend suggests that Joseph might be interested, and Horace leaves for Joseph's club. At the club, Horace is tortured by Joseph, who wants to know where the other bonds are hidden. Horace resists, trying to protect his wife. In the process, Joseph tortures Horace to death. Back at Horace's house, his wife grows worried because Horace hasn't come home, and it's very late. She packs all the bonds in a bag and decides to report them to the police. As soon as she reports it, this catches Steedy's attention. Steedy calls Mike and urges him to come to the station immediately. When Mike arrives, Steedy briefs him about the situation. Mike is shocked by the news. He advises Steedy to take the bonds into custody and store them somewhere safe. They both suspect these bonds belong to Milo and take extra precautions. The next day, Joseph arrives at Horace's house and starts looking for the bonds. Horace's wife tries to escape, but Joseph kills her. Later, her body is found by 2 police officers. The previous night, Mike had rushed from the police station to the prison, but he was too late, and all the prisoners had already been moved to another facility. Moving into the next day, Bunny has been moved to another prison. Moments later, Carney tries to move Bunny to confinement, but they are confronted by 2 other guards. The guards try to assault Bunny, and Carney tries to stop them, but all goes in vain, and the guards maul Bunny and later take him to his confinement cell. Watching all this, Carney calls Mike to inform him about the situation. He asks if Mike can do anything to stop the brutal torture Bunny is enduring. In response to Carney's call, Mike calls Kareem, but sadly, Kareem doesn't respond to his call. Later the same day, one of the gang leaders is burned to death in his cell. Bunny senses this, and watching the situation, he becomes tenser. Moreover, Mike, who is trying to rescue Bunny from the assault, also sees the smoke. It is alarming for him, too, because he has put Bunny's life in danger. In the next few days, the conditions start to get a lot worse. The guard who assaulted Bunny tries to help one of the gang leaders. He sets him free while the other gang leaders are chained to their tables. However, the other gang leaders sense it and are ready to face him. Sadly, he is able to take down one of them and stab him to death. The other 2 gang leaders beat the attacker and took him down as well, but it is not long before the guard comes to help him, backing him up. Mike is informed about all of this incident, and he decides to handle it at night. Later that night, Mike takes a ride with Kyle and stops outside a house. Mike instructs Kyle to come into the house if he doesn't return after 5 minutes. Soon, Mike enters the house, and surprisingly, it is the prison guard's residence. Mike confronts him and discusses Bunny and all the matters going on in the prison. Mike suggests that he should go easy on Bunny and stop this reckless behavior, but the prison guard takes it to heart and starts cursing Mike. Moreover, he pushes Mike hard, and Mike hits the front door of the house. As soon as Mike hits the door, Kyle enters the house. Kyle takes the guard down by head-butting him with his pistol. Kyle is infuriated and warns the guard that if he ever tries to hit his brother again, he's going to kill him. Furthermore, Kyle threatens him to act on the instructions provided by Mike. Later, Mike tells Kyle that it's enough and that they should leave, but Kyle is so enraged that he throws a punch right at the guard's face before leaving. The next day, Mike goes to meet Bunny in the prison. Both of them argue over the differences in their ways of working. Mike tries to make Bunny understand that he is doing his best to take him out of this prison, but Bunny no longer has that trust bond left between him and Mike. Moreover, Bunny tells Mike that someone has marked him to be dead. However, Bunny lifted that mark from him to someone else, and Bunny won't reveal his name. Later, Bunny leaves for his confinement cell. Later at night, Carney comes to meet Kareem at his office. There, Carney informs Kareem that the guy Kareem beat up in the prison has jumped from the building. This could threaten Kareem's position again as the in charge of the prison, but Carney assures Kareem that he is with him and will do his best to support him in this matter. Later, Mike meets with the district attorney to discuss all the incidents occurring. At first, the district attorney doesn't take Mike seriously, but when Mike mentions Milo's name, his laughter fades away. Moreover, Mike tells him that he has got Milo's $1 million bank bonds and is ready to trade them. In return, he wants Bunny and the other gang leaders to be freed. The district attorney assures Mike that he will try to get Bunny and the other gang leaders out of prison soon. The next day, one of the gang leaders approaches Bunny, This is the same gang leader whom Bunny thought attacked his crewmate earlier in the prison. Bunny is shocked to hear that the guy who attacked his crewmates was a lone wolf. To clear up this misunderstanding, the other gang leader chops off the lone wolf hand in front of Bunny. This makes it clear to Bunny that they are still in a truce. Later, Bunny calls Mike. He explains that his life is in real danger now in the prison and that prisoners are attacking him individually, too. Mike should get Bunny out of this prison as soon as possible. Mike assures Bunny that he will get him out of prison because he has something to offer to the district attorney. The episode starts with a drone scene flying over the prison where Bunny is kept. It seems like the drone is dropping some packages from the sky into the prison. When the guards are unaware, the prisoners secure the package. Later, it is revealed that the packages contain drugs that are being smuggled into the prison and supplied to the gang members inside. The packages have been seen falling often in the past few days, and Bunny notices it, too. Later, outside the prison, Mike is driving down a street when he encounters two groups. One group consists of Bunny's crewmates and the other group consists of Gunner's crewmates. Gunner is the gang leader who chopped off a prisoner's hand earlier. These two groups are about to have a head-to-head battle when Mike appears on the scene just in time. He parks his car right between them. Mike is at the aim of a dozen pistols, but he still manages to shoo them off. In this way, Mike prevents a deadly shootout that would have resulted in a massacre. Mike makes them understand that they have to stay in their own areas, which have been allotted to them. Thus, they should prevent these face-offs while their leaders are inside the prison. Back in the prison, Bunny and one of his mates are shocked as they approach their confinement cells. They see that their things have been moved from their cells to somewhere else. At first, they worry that they are going to be moved from here too, but later, Carney reveals to them that they are being moved to a whole separate room for both of them. As a result, they become really excited. Carney tells them that Mike is doing them a favor. This whole room has everything Bunny and his mate need. They can even cook their meals themselves and can rest all day. Later, they cook a meal and enjoy it. While doing so, Bunny hears something that diverts his attention. After focusing, Bunny realizes it is another drone. He finds it threatening because he thinks the drone might be dropping weapons, too, which could put his life in danger. So, he calls Mike right away and asks him to look into this matter. Soon, Mike arrives at the prison. As he is going to get close to the main door, he notices a man standing outside the prison wall. The man is controlling the drone from outside and is delivering packages inside the prison. Mike takes him by surprise and knocks him to the ground. He aims a pistol at him and starts interrogating him. Meanwhile, the man's phone rings. Mike picks up the call and is surprised to hear it's Gunner from inside the prison. Mike makes it clear to him that he has seen through Gunner's plans. Gunner should just stop all of it, or else it won't end well for him. On the other hand, Gunner, upon hearing Mike on the phone, becomes enraged. But Mike doesn't seem interested and cuts the call. The episode starts with Mike having a morning drink at an old bar he used to visit in the past. While having the drink, he asks the bartender about her father, who used to work there. The girl replies that he is no longer there and that she is now handling the bar. After having the drink, Mike asks if there are still lockers at the bar. Later, he submits his gun and car keys and asks her to give only his gun back to him when he returns. After this, he leaves the bar and starts walking away from it. Moving back to the prison, it's the day Bunny is being released. He looks really happy, and all his cousins are there to receive him. Later, they leave the prison for their hideout. The first thing Bunny does is throw a party to celebrate his release. Moreover, he calls Mike, but Mike has left his phone in the office, so he can't receive Bunny's call. Bunny wanted to invite him to this celebration, too, as Mike had tried his best to get Bunny free. Later on, Kyle arrives at Bunny's hideout to search for Mike. Kyle had been calling Mike all day, but Mike didn't answer. So, Kyle is worried for his brother's well-being. He asks Bunny to talk to him alone for a few minutes, and Bunny agrees. Later, Bunny tells him that he called Mike, but Mike didn't pick up. However, Bunny assures Kyle that he will try to find a clue about Mike and will tell him soon. Moving back to Mike, he has some intimate moments with Allison. Allison is the widow of one of the officers from the prison named Teddy. Later, the scene shifts to Iris, who is seen being taken to church by Joseph and Tatiana. Furthermore, it is revealed that they are taking Iris to meet Milo in the church. After this, Milo is seen praising Iris. Moreover, Milo adds that she is doing well in the business as a prostitute. However, Milo further says that he misses Iris, who was in a relationship with him, instead of Iris, who is just a prostitute. Moreover, Milo asks Iris if she is in love with Mike and if they have intimate moments. Moving back to Mike, he has just left Allison's house, but soon, he feels like someone is following him. It seems that Allison has informed someone about Mike being there. So, Mike walks quickly toward the bar and asks the bartender to give him his gun back. He also asks if there is any other way out of the bar. He is saddened to hear that there's only one way out the way he entered. Hearing this, Mike tells her to lock the doors after he leaves. As soon as Mike leaves the bar, the car is still following him. Mike makes a run to save his life and later shoots the guy in the car through the windshield. Luckily, he hits the guy right in the head. Later, when Mike gets close to the car, he is shocked to see the person in the car, because it was the same prison guard he had visited earlier. It is later revealed that Gunner's gang was behind this plan. After getting away from a life-threatening situation, Mike is surprised to see Milo visiting him. The day after Bunny is released, he visits a gun shop that is open new in town. Moreover, he acts like he is very keen to buy a pistol. The shop owner shows him a variety of pistols and is happy to have Bunny as his customer. Later on, Bunny seems to have liked a pistol very much. He pretends to call his wife and asks for permission to buy it. While he is doing so, a van crashes into the shop. Soon, it is revealed that these are Bunny's men, and he is calling them. Actually, Bunny was acting all the way to ransack the shop. After this, Bunny and his men start picking up each and every gun on display. Bunny also broke the CCTV cameras in the shop. He also takes the computer setup connected to the cameras with him. Moving back to Mike, Milo has come to meet him after the deadly attack on Mike. Soon, Milo proposes a deal to Mike. Milo unwinds the deal by saying he knows Mike has got his millions worth of bank bonds. Milo says that he is ready to trade the bonds for Iris. This deal seems quite interesting to Mike, and he agrees to it. But Milo warns him that if Mike tries to play any tricks, Milo will make him suffer before death. Later at night, Mike receives a call from Iris and asks about his well-being. But the real reason for the call was to tell Mike the date and time of the trade. Moments later, Joseph confronts Iris and shows her the money. Actually, he is making her realize that he has bought Iris for 3 hours now, so he can use these 3 hours the way he wants. After hearing all this, Iris feels disgusted and tries to leave the room, but Joseph forcefully pushes her against the wall. Moreover, he curses her, and when she tries to resist, he pushes her across the table. After this, Joseph mauls her and tries to choke her with a pillow. But luckily, Iris gets a hand on one of the broken pieces of glass. She forcefully stabs it in the neck of Joseph, making him bleed. Later, she sits on him and keeps stabbing him with the glass until he takes his last breath. Moving back to Mike, he receives a call from Robert that he is being attacked. However, when Mike reaches the location, Robert is already on the ground. Mike calls for an ambulance and fears it is all done by Bunny's men. Later, at the hospital, Robert is admitted to the ICU and is fighting for his life. That same night, Mike has to meet Milo for the deal, but Mike is already late, so he drives toward the location Iris told him earlier. While doing so, he has to stop at a train junction, but soon he senses someone has been following him. After this, some men step out of the other car and start shooting at Mike's car. They shoot at the car from all directions, but Mike hides beneath his car seat and luckily doesn't get a single shot. Later, when the guys come close, Mike shoots each of them tactically. One of them still remains close to the vehicle he used to follow Mike, but Mike successfully pierces a bullet right through his body, too. Later, Mike uses their vehicle to get away from the crime scene. Moving back to Mike's house, Iris has reached there. Soon, Mike receives a call from his mom, but actually, it's Milo who has taken Mike's mom as a hostage. Moreover, Milo is infuriated that Mike didn't reach the decided location on time. Milo thinks Mike is just trying to play tricks on him. Milo demands Mike to reach his home as soon as possible, or he's going to kill Mike's mom. Before leaving for home, Milo calls Kyle and informs him about the whole situation. Moreover, he asks him to reach home, too, as he needs backup. Moments later, Milo reaches home and parks his car a few meters from his home. Milo is doing this because he doesn't want to let Mike know he is already here. Soon, Kyle also reaches there, and he is not alone. He brought Ian with him. This is when Milo discloses that the bonds are still in his own car, which was attacked earlier. Hearing this, they all get tense and decide to act according to a plan. Later on, Mike enters his house barehanded and checks for the well-being of his mother. Milo asks him about the bonds, but Mike acts as if he has the bonds outside in the car. Mike gives Milo the counter-argument that he couldn't bring the bonds inside before checking for the well-being of his mother. Moreover, Mike assures his mother that everything will be alright and she shouldn't worry. While all of this is happening inside the house, Kyle takes one of Milo's men down. The gunshots alarm everyone, and soon Ian gets into the house, shooting Milo's men. A fierce battle takes place between Milo's men and Mike's subordinates, but soon, Mike realizes that his mother has been shot. Later, Kyle is infuriated to know that he has shot his own mother unintentionally. They run toward the hospital, and there, Mike's mother fights for her life on the ventilator. Mike encourages Kyle to believe that this was not done intentionally and that Kyle should pray for his mother's well-being now. After Mike's mother is stable, he leaves with Ian to join Milo's club. Actually, Mike thinks that he can find Milo's clue from Tatiana, so he leaves immediately. Later, when they reach the club, they directly approach Tatiana. Mike explains everything to her and requests her to make a phone call to Milo. Tatiana hesitates at first, but then she agrees and makes a call to Milo. So, Mike asks Milo for another chance for the trade to take place, but Milo warns him that if Mike tries to play any tricks this time, he will kill Iris on the spot. They decide to meet on a yacht later at night. So, Mike rushes toward the train junction where his own car is parked, having the original bonds. Mike has already asked Ian to secure the spot and thus just leaves for the location. Soon, Mike gets those bonds back and leaves for the decided location where he will meet Milo. Moving back to Iris, she is seen taken to the yacht by Milo. But before entering the yacht, Milo confronts her and asks her some questions. Actually, Milo is enraged to see why Mike is doing so much to save Iris. He even blames her that she has been having intimate relations with Mike. That's why he isn't leaving her. Moments later, Mike reaches the location, and he is accompanied by Ian. He asks Ian to hide at a distance and use a sniper, so, if anything goes wrong, he can back Mike up. Later, Mike reaches close to the yacht, and he is inspected by Milo's men before entering the yacht. On the other hand, Ian closely observes all of this with the help of his sniper scope. After this, Mike enters the yacht, and the trade is successful. Mike takes Iris with him and leaves the bag containing the bonds with Milo. As soon as they get out of the boat and travel some distance, the boat explodes. Actually, Mike has implanted the bag of bonds with explosive material. So, this was his plan and way of taking revenge for his mother from Milo. As the boat explodes, Milo's men try to shoot Mike, but Ian and Iris act accordingly and kill Milo's men. Hence, both Mike and Iris make it out of there safely. Later, Mike and Iris are seen enjoying the yacht they dreamed of buying, and in this way, Season 2 of Mayor of Kingstown comes to an end.